Peace, this is Prince Raziel, and today I want to talk about how to open your 7 chakras. What the 7 chakras are is different aspects of your personality or your being. For example, the crown chakra represents your ego, the third eye represents how you react to things, your throat chakra represents how you communicate, your heart chakra represents your emotions, your solar plexus represents your will or your energy, your sacral chakra represents your life force or your sexual energy, and your root chakra represents how connected you feel with the earth or yourself. So the whole concept of opening your chakra is basically to get them aligned down the center so they can be on the same page. If you feel one way about love, but you feel a whole nother way about sex, then they don't complement each other. And if they don't complement each other, there's no way for them to be open, so it creates an imbalance. You know, our chakras are unique to us as individuals. It's not about society, it's not about religion, it's about you, how you feel about certain things. So the whole point of getting them aligned is you going back to how you feel about certain things before you got programmed, you know, with however you got programmed, is really getting back to how you really are. Because when you get back to how you really are, everything is aligned, everything is centered. You don't really feel no different about love than you feel about sex, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really the whole purpose of it. And the way to do that is you find a middle ground. For example, like I said, if you feel one way about love and you feel another way about sex, you have to kind of find a middle ground to where they meet, and so they can be in agreement with each other, so that whenever your heart is imbalanced or your sacral chakra is imbalanced, then you know how to, you know, get them back in tune with each other, because you basically you back at yourself at your 0 point or your centeredness. You know, you're centered. So if you're ever in balance, it just kind of balances itself out on its own. So a way to tell if one of your chakras are in balance is, like I said, the sun, or not the sun, the crown chakra represents your ego. If you have a hard time humbling yourself or expressing yourself, or knowing the difference between when to be humble and when to express yourself, then that's an indication that your crown chakra may be imbalanced. Because it's a time to express, and it's a time to be humble. With your third eye, to know if it's imbalanced is, are you very judgmental? Because if you're able to see things, because your third eye is open, but you don't agree with it, like kind of freaks you out, or you can't really understand it, and you have a lot of judgment, you know, towards what you're seeing, then that's an indication that your third eye may be imbalanced, because you're supposed to be able to look at things without judgment and just see it for how it is, not for how you perceive it to be. If your throat is imbalanced, you will be able, or you won't be able to, you know, utilize a material realm and a metaphysical realm. And what that means is, if somebody was, you know, creating a work of art and their only inspiration comes from the earth, that's cool. But you have, you know, different dimensions, 4th dimension, 5th dimension, and all those things that, you know, most artists use. Most of the, you know, high profile artists, they have an open third eye, and they can see into different dimensions, which inspires them to, you know, create, you know, more vivid imagery. So if you're only limited to just the material realm, you have no access to the different dimensions, and that's an indication that your communication or your throat chakra is imbalanced, because you should be able to, you know, have access to all levels, you know, of existence. The next is your heart. Your heart is imbalanced if, you know, your emotions, you know, you have a hard time controlling them. Like you have you feel strongly about one thing, but you really don't care about something else. But that thing that you feel strongly about is the same thing that kind of, you know, hurts you, or, you know, causes you to, you know, be in a situation where you get heartbroken or whatever. But, you know, something else you really don't care too much about, that's an indication that your heart chakra is imbalanced, because you shouldn't be putting yourself in situations to, you know, have a broken heart. The next is the solar plexus. If you ever get the desire to create or the desire to move or do something, but you end up not doing it, then that's an indication that your solar plexus is imbalanced. Because whenever you get the urge to create, you should have the ability to create, which is, we all are like that, but because, we're in school, we in jobs and religions, when that desire comes up, we can't really express it because we're not really in the right, circumstances. The sacral chakra is, if it's imbalanced, you really don't get an urge. You're not very sexual, and you don't really get an urge to create at all. Like, you don't even get the urge. It doesn't come. It's just not there. And that's an indication that your sacral chakra may be imbalanced, because we should always have the urge to express ourselves, whenever it comes. And lastly, if you feel too spacey or too grounded, then that's an indication that your root chakra is not balanced, because we should be able to go, between the dimensions and between the worlds without really feeling too attached to one or the other. So that's just a brief introduction to how to open your 7 chakras. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and Hotep.